Well, today we have another old pilot that's going to relate some of his experiences for us, and it should be interesting. He did bring for everyone the little cards for the Nacogdoches fly-in deal, and so there's some up here if you didn't get one in the mail. But Farrell, I know, will have an interesting talk and probably have us on the edge of our seat for several minutes. And it is going to be filmed, so watch what you say in the crowd.
You will be held responsible.
That's right, you will be held
accountable.
So I will adjourn this meeting officially and then turn it over to Farrell, and we'll all slide out where we can see him.
Okay, we'll start out just start from the beginning. When I was 18, I went in the Marine Corps and went to Korea, and I spent a year in Korea, and then I spent 9 months in Japan after that, and I was in artillery rockets. It's a 20. I don't. Some of you older fellows don't know what they are. 24 barrels, and there was 8 across, 3 rows of them, and the goose over there called it the whispering death. Said before it hit, all they could hear was a whoosh. And the backblast was ferocious. And you could only fire about 3 volumes, and then you had to move because they'd have you pinpointed. And one thing that I was a chief of one of the guns, and we fired 3 volleys, and the colonel wanted us to fire 1 more, and we did. And they fired on us, and we had a hill, big hill that we get behind. And then if they tried to shoot us, they'd overshoot us. And anyhow, it incoming hit the gun, and when we got around the corner, all that was left was the hitch. And the top of that old 6x looked like a sieve, and didn't hurt anybody. Them guys they got down in the floor, that old 6x. And we got around the corner, and there wasn't anybody hurt. Nobody even had a scratch. The old man upstairs was watching for us, I guess. But anyhow, then when I got back out of the service, well, then that's when I took up flying. And I was in Oregon, is where I started. And I soloed the first thing in a Piper Colt 2-place tricycle. And then I soloed and put about 10 hours on it. Then I bought a Luscombe 8A with a 65 horse. You had to prop it. But I had that plane 3 years, and I flew it all over, over 300 hours. I went everywhere in it. 100 mile an hour. And I had pretty good luck with it. That's a picture of it, and a picture of me when I was 28 there, 28 years old. Oh my gosh.
Just a kid.
And I loved that plane. But I worked for an oil company, and they sent me overseas.
Oh my goodness.
I worked on a big offshore drilling rig. I was the mechanic and the electrician, both. And if they had the last 10 years I worked for them, I was a worldwide trouble. In other words, if the boys on the rig couldn't get it fixed, then they'd pack my suitcase and I'd go and fix it, and then I'd have to stay. Oh, usually I had to stay at least a week or 2 to make sure it was all right. And I put in I put in 27 years, and then I retired from them. And then we moved to, I worked in Chile, I worked in Brazil, and I worked in the North Sea. I never did get to go to Alaska. I always wanted to go to Alaska, but I never did get to go. But anyhow, we moved to Texas because I told them I didn't want to be a troubleshooter anymore. So they gave me 2 rigs off the coast of Texas here to take care of. And I worked there until I retired. And we liked the weather down here so well. We were from Missouri. Both of me and my wife was from Missouri. And we decided that we'd just move here permanent. And we've been here since '79. We moved to Garrison. Then we put a motorcycle shop in Nacogdoches. And I had it for about 12 years. Then I retired from that. We bought a place down on the lake, Sam Rayburn. And we lived down there for about 3 years. I still own it. It's a farm. It's a tree farm. But I have it leased out. And anyhow, we moved back to Garrison again. And we had a pretty good life. We traveled a lot. Had a motor home, but when I was working the last few years in overseas, I'd work 28 days on. They'd fly me home and I'd stay for 28 days. And then go back and forth 28 days. And down here off the coast, I worked 2 weeks on, 2 off. But it was a good job. It was a working job, but I always worked with my hands. I never was in an office or anything. Didn't want to be. Because that's when they took up 7 days a week.
Yep.
And then I joined EAA. I was one of the first members. And then I joined here. And I had a 172, and I put it in the trees between here and Nacogdoches, and walked away from it. I put it between 2 trees. It took the wing and went in and hit the one wing and curled, went over and went in upside down. And I went out I was still in the plane and safety belt on and everything. I undone it and went out the window. And I had a few stitches, but that was all. They just kept me overnight in the hospital and turned me loose. Said, well, you're ready. Somebody asked me, said, well, are you going to get in another plane? And I said, not today. And a week later, I was in an airplane again. And I checked out in the Piper that Nacogdoches had it rented. It had a 180 engine in it. And I flew it for about 3 or 4 weeks. Then I didn't fly for about a month, and then somebody told me about this little 172 that was for sale. And I bought it. And it's the one that I put in the trees. It was a good little plane. But one thing you got to remember, you need to put gas in one if you're going to fly.
Oh,
Farrell, did it get kind of quiet when that engine quit?
Did it what?
Get quiet?
Real quiet. It's kind of like flying. Kind of like a sailplane. But the rate of descent was a little faster. I put it in the top of what I done is I picked out that I could make. I was looking down 3.6, but I couldn't make it. And there wasn't nothing but trees. There was no open field or nothing. So I just went into the place that had the shortest trees. And I just took the tops out of about 6 of them and installed it in the top of the trees.
That's a good,
And then it went
Yeah.
over sideways, hit that one tree,
yeah.
and it turned and went in upside down. And I went out the window,
Yeah.
unhooked and went out the window. I wasn't hurt bad. I walked away from it. So that was pretty good.
Yes.
Did you start sweating when the fan quit?
No, I didn't have time. I was trying to get some fuel to it. I turned it sideways,
Oh, gosh.
couple most upside down every way I could think of. Tried to get some more fuel. It never hit a lick. And then I bought this 182 that I have. And I just love it, but right now I'm out of annual, but I mean,
Just keep
Yeah.
gas in it, the rest of it's.
but anyhow,
Keep
yeah.
that fuel in there, please.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's about it. That's about all I know.
Well, Farrell, were you on sabbatical from flying while you were with the oil company? You didn't, and you started
Oh,
flying?
well, yeah, I didn't tell you all of that. I was down in 2 helicopters. We went down, once in the ocean, and once we made it to the land. And it was a Bell Jet Ranger, and there was 3 seats in the back, and then the pilot and co-pilot. We never carried a co-pilot, but they knew I was flying in Oregon, so they let me sit in the co-pilot seat, and he'd let me fly it, but he wouldn't let me. It was illegal for me to land it or take off. I couldn't do that, but I could fly. And I learned to fly pretty good. But anyhow, we had a hydraulic hose that operated the pitch on the prop, and that hose blew. And so we was at about 2,000 feet, and he pulled the automatic. You hit pretty hard when it just free it. And we busted the pontoons, but we got the life rafts out. And there was the boy I was sitting, that day I was sitting in the back with 3 of us. And I was sitting on the left outside. The boy in the middle broke his back. And that was all. It was, nobody else got hurt. No, the pilot went out through the front of it, busted the plastic and went out through the front. Cut his head real bad right here. We thought his skull was open, but when we got him in the life raft, I helped get him in the life raft. Well, it was just skin deep, but it just bleeds like a stuck hog. I mean,
Oh, it does.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just a ridge up here about 3 inches across where he hit something, and we don't know exactly what. But the helicopter sank because the pontoons were busted, so there wasn't nothing.
They
It
filled
was
it.
in about 120 feet of water. They got it back out later on. And then the second one, we had engine failure. But we was about, probably 2 miles from the land. We made it. And it hit the ground, and it busted the pontoons on that one. And we were kind of sitting low. We all got out, and everybody walked around and looked, and nobody got hurt. Not a soul. We was lucky that day again, too. And that was my experience but I never was afraid, and it never bothered me to fly. I figured I was about as safe to fly as I was to get in my car and get on. We lived in California and get in that traffic up there, 80, 90 miles an hour, and they'd pass you.
Yeah. It's a lot safer up
Yeah.
there.
And that's about it. You guys know the rest.
Farrell, the night that you put the 172 in, I don't know if you were aware of it, but you were about 4 different colors in the hospital. Black, gray, more black, both arms, your face and your chest was all bruised like crazy.
Yeah, I was bruised up.
You were
pretty
cut
good.
up pretty bad.
Yeah. Had this arm here, that's still the scar. That was done from the window.
Yeah.
What I did, I slid out, I unbuckled my belt, and I put my feet up high on the top of the, where it was, they breasted out, the right side of the windshield was gone. The left side, about half of it was still there. So I went out the right side, and I got to sliding too fast, and I reached back like that to get a hold of the post, and I got that piece of plastic that was jagged. They cut me here. Here I had cut here. I could stick my tongue out through it.
Yeah. It was all black. It was all,
And that was about the extent. I had some awesome cuts. I got me a cowboy hat out of it.
Yeah.
This was laid over here and split here. And I just took it. I had an old towel in there, a towel. And I put it back there where it was and wrapped that towel around it. It was bleeding pretty bad. But it all worked out all right.
Plexiglass, hollow.
Yeah, the plexiglass done it.
Don't work open.
No, the door on my side was jammed. I tried to get it open, I couldn't. Besides that, I was between two trees, upside down.
That's better than being on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyhow, I've had a real good life as far as everything going. I love airplanes. Always will.
Yeah.
Love to fly.
Great.
And that's about it.
that's
You
good.
guys know the rest of it. You all know me.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh,
Anyway,
Good job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you much.
once those windows are gone, probably, you feel pretty good about it. There'll be no gas then.
Yeah.
It's real light in here, when it doesn't burst into flame.
That's
That
about
makes
it.
difference, going on
For the
that
next
clock pretty quick. All right, I guess we can wrap it up, guys. Thanks for coming.
Uh-huh.
We adjourn.